Hello and welcome to the Philosopher's Angle, your daily French philosophical take on the news headlines. This is an AI-generated podcast based directly on the writings of the philosophers discussed, but like all AI, it can make mistakes. In the news today, October 19th, 2024, story, fears are growing over plans to close 3Sat, a German-language TV station known for its highbrow content, including philosophical discussions and classical concerts. The channel is a collaboration between public broadcasters in Austria, Germany, and Switzerland, and has been on the air since 1984. A proposal to merge it with Arte, a Franco-German culture channel, will be considered at a summit in Leipzig this week. Supporters of 3Sat argue that the merger plans are a sign that authorities are bowing to populist attacks on public service broadcasting. Over 140,000 people have signed a petition to save the channel, including film director Wim Wenders and actor Sandra Hüller. Commentary inspired by the writings of Pierre Bourdieu, the proposed closure of 3Sat, a German-language TV station celebrated for its sophisticated content, has ignited widespread concern among intellectuals and cultural enthusiasts. Beneath its seemingly mundane surface, this development belies a far more profound struggle between populism and elitism in public broadcasting. As I argue, the fate of 3Sat represents a critical battleground in the war for control over cultural institutions, which wield considerable influence in shaping our collective tastes and preferences. The dominant class has long leveraged its power over education and cultural institutions to impose its own definition of culture, thereby perpetuating its own dominance, distinction. This is precisely what hangs in the balance with the proposed closure of 3Sat. Proponents of the merger plan contend that it will render public service broadcasting more efficient and accessible. However, this reasoning conceals a more insidious agenda: the erosion of cultural capital held by the dominant class. As Bourdieu astutely observed, cultural capital serves not only as an instrument of domination, but also as a means of legitimation, enabling the dominant class to present its own interests as universal and legitimate, the state nobility. By undermining institutions like 3Sat, which embody this cultural capital, populist forces are attempting to dismantle the very fabric of elitism. But what implications does this have for the broader public? The working class taste, as Bourdieu noted in Distinction, is often characterized by a strong inclination towards easily accessible and culturally devalued goods. This is precisely why institutions like 3Sat are so vital. They offer an alternative to the bland, commercialized fare that dominates popular culture. By preserving these cultural oases, we can foster a more nuanced understanding of art, philosophy, and culture among a broader audience. The struggle for control over cultural institutions, as Bourdieu observed in The Rules of Art, is a pivotal aspect of the struggle for power between different classes and fractions of classes. In this light, the proposed closure of 3Sat must be seen as part of a larger effort to reshape the cultural landscape in favor of populist interests. Supporters of 3Sat, including film director Wim Wenders and actor Sandra Hüller, have signed a petition to save the channel. But their efforts may ultimately prove futile if they fail to recognize the deeper structural forces at play. The fate of 3Sat is not just about preserving a beloved cultural institution. It is about resisting the erosion of elitism in public broadcasting and defending the very notion that culture can be more than mere entertainment. As we consider the proposal to merge 3Sat with Arte, we must ask ourselves, what kind of culture do we want to cultivate? One that values nuance, complexity, and intellectual curiosity, or one that reduces art and ideas to shallow sound bites? The answer will depend on our willingness to defend institutions like 3Sat against the populist onslaught. Thank you for listening to today's episode of The Philosopher's Angle. Be sure to come back tomorrow for another reflective take on the day's news.